you speak on something else too. I seen you guys have a lot of investors, right? A lot of people kind of backing y'all, and we know investors want to return. So what is Guard's revenue model, and how do y'all make money?
Right. So we make money when people borrow GARD. That's the predominant way. And
Okay.
so the best thing for us is to scale, right? And so again, getting more GARD into circulation, right? Um, but yeah, going back to the ways to get GARD, just to give a quick overview, right? It's definitely important to know that there's liquid governance side of things where whether you use our platform or you have gALGOs, you can borrow against your algos or your gALGOs, right? And then if you want to just acquire GARD on your own, essentially by buying it, right, you can do that on a decentralized exchange, right? And any GARD you have, it's over collateralized because somebody's borrowed it at some point.
Mm.
They've deposited, algos or gALGOs to get it. And so once it's staked, it's important to note that all of that has valuable assets behind it, and that the revenues are coming both from the borrow interest, right, that people are paying, and then from the boosted reward that we're putting in by buying up GARD through different means, and then distributing it through our staking pool, putting it in, and then the rewards get paid out to everyone based on how much they have staked.
Makes sense. Okay, like a profit sharing, pretty much.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of again, it's not that it hasn't been done, but yeah, the way that we pay out revenues and like for the long term, how it'll be more sustainable, right? Is yeah, we pay out our revenues, not all of them, right? And that's something that the DAO can vote on is where the revenues get sent. But yeah, right now we're 80% of our borrow rate gets paid right into the staking pools. And so again, we have the borrow rate really low, and we have a high APR because we're adding an extra GARD that we've purchased, right? We're not printing this GARD, we're not creating it out of nothing. We're buying this GARD that's been borrowed by somebody and putting in these pools to be distributed, right? But long term, as more partnerships happen and we continue to get more kind of velocity behind GARD, right? We just actually got a new partnership today that it won't be live for about a month, until next quarter. So about 3 months, right, a quarter, but a really great partnership with, a platform that's going to go live soon. And, we're working on partnerships, working on ways where people can actually use the GARD, right? Because it's meant to be used as, this means of exchange. And so again, the more partnerships, the more GARD that's out there, whether it's on a lending platform, whether it's on some kind of an entertainment platform, a DEX, right? People just holding on to it. The more GARD that's not on our platform, then the higher that revenue that's getting paid out to people who are kind of saving it on our platform, the higher that can be. And so again, in the short term, right, if you have 100 GARD borrowed and 100 GARD staked, then there's no way you can get above that, whatever that borrow rate is sustainably, right? Because that would mean something's coming out of nowhere, right? But if you have 100 GARD borrowed and 50 GARD staked, then all of a sudden that revenue can, actually come into, even if you're not paying out 100% of the revenue you're generating, but you're paying out most of it, you're easily clearing that borrow rate, right? And again, if you didn't even borrow the GARD, you've just received it as payment, and then you want to stake it, then that rate's a lot higher, actually, right? And so again, the more partnerships we have, the more GARD that's in circulation, floating around, and the less that's staked on our platform, right? Then that percentage of GARD that's staked can continue to drop, and the APR can go higher, right? Without us, changing the interest rate we charge, right? And so it's definitely something that's sustainable, right? It's something that in the beginning we have to kickstart and get people excited and use it and build up those partnerships. But again, if things go for the long term, then this will just be somewhere, hopefully, where people can just save their GARD and just earn interest, because again, there will be enough people who are taking advantage of the leverage that they're getting through borrowing GARD to do other things, right? Whether it's buy more algos, whether it's pay for something on chain, buy an NFT, whatever it is that they want. As more services just kind of become native and on chain,
Hmm.
then people get kind of more freedom with those assets that they're leveraging against. And again, what's really important about being able to leverage your assets, right, is if you love ALGO, right, and you never want to sell, but all of a sudden there's something you need to do at the same time, right?
Yep.
You can deposit your assets, borrow a small amount against them, take care of that obligation, and then later on in the future, repay that, get your algos back, and you didn't end up having to sell any of your algos, right? And so definitely for people who are long-term believers or wanting to take advantage of certain things, opportunities, it can add a lot of value.
Yeah, I agree. The whole borrowing against your algos and taking out a cheaper loan, especially if you're like, some people use that to then go pay off their credit card that they already borrowed against. So a 3% loan being traded instead of a 17% is amazing. So I'm definitely into that. Can
Yeah, I
you?
mean, right now we're at 2%. We plan on keeping it there for now.
Mhm.
The thing that gets interesting and down the road is, as this becomes something that the public votes on, um, is that again, if you do have a situation, right, where people are, let's say half of the guard that's been borrowed is staked, the higher you raise that borrow rate, all of a sudden that staking revenue can really go up quickly.
Yep.
Um, but that might make people start to pay off their loans, so again,
No,
there's
that is
a lot of stuff that can
good.
kind of happen.
No, that's what happened. Because I had to make videos about it one of the people who's like, "Hey, y'all, we can do on folks finance. You can do the liquid governance, borrow against yourself. Like we're doing all these strategies." But what happened was, as soon as governance, started, the APY or APR, borrow APR went from 2% up to like 10. So all it did was pretty much eat at everyone's like strategies and stuff like that. So it's something you got to be aware of. So I understand why you guys won't increase it dramatically, because that will de-incentivize people pretty much.
Yeah, well, right now it's not going to change. Again, we're the ones who'd be able to change it, and we think 2%, which to my knowledge is the best in Algorand right now.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, 2% is good. And then in the future, if it were ever to change before, we have the DAO able to vote on that, then it would be well communicated in advance. There's not a dynamic interest rate that is going to just suddenly change on people. That's definitely a question we've gotten, that people have been concerned about. So it's not something that needs to be worried about right now.
Makes sense. Yeah, because that's definitely one of my concerns, and I'm, not to like talk folks all the time, but I'm not sure how they do that part of it. And I'm like more clear with AlgoFis, it seems like. But so let's slowly start to close out. Is there any other like updates you can share, or any information you would like to share as we're closing out for the audience?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's just really exciting time to be involved in Algorand, right? I think that we've definitely had stories of people who've been able to loop their positions pretty successfully, especially during momentary times where guard might be trading at a premium, right? And so again, the way that guard's able to keep its peg is that it's over collateralized, which means that there's this intrinsic value behind guard, right? Because even if I'm holding my own guard, then I can pay up back my position, right? Fine. But if somebody else has my guard, right, then in order for me to pay back my position, I need to get that guard from somewhere to pay it back and get those assets back out, right? And so to get the assets out, either the original person who created the position is going to have to return their guard, or if someone gets liquidated, then someone with guard is going to have to pay that guard to make the system whole again, to pull out those assets, right? And so I think what's something for people to think about is just the opportunities there are in price, like momentary price discrepancies in guard, right? If guard's trading under what it's supposed to be valued, right,
Mhm.
then there could be opportunities to stake guard, earn more, and again, your efforts to buy it in a volatile market and then stake it mean that you're going to put positive price pressure on it at some point. Somebody should need that guard to close back out that position, and so there's kind of a value proposition there. Also, if you're already using the platform, whether it's, you've got your gALGOs on or your algos on, you've borrowed GARD. If the price is quote unquote too high, right, there could be opportunities to, sell your GARD at the market, get some algos back or some USDC, and loop your position, or just take that arbitrage opportunity and sit on it and wait for your next move. So I definitely think there's some opportunities in there. And then from our standpoint, we're just going to keep making optimizations to our web app and our mobile responsiveness, and